The Sciforror Film Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another of our special editions of the Sci-Fi Film Podcast. I'm Andy Walker and I am here talking to Sam Mason-Bell, who's the director of A Final Exorcism. Hi Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? You good?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Now I want to start off by giving you an apology for the fact that for some reason I have no idea why. When we did the review, I somehow had it locked in my head that it was called Final Exorcism, not sorry, a last exorcism, not a final exorcism. And I kept saying that. I don't know why.
It's no problem. Like, it's going to be probably having that problem for the rest of its life now because it's very close to that title.
Um, but okay, so let's start off with, I mean, what I quite often do with people, which is sort of, how did you get into filmmaking and how did you get to where you are now?
Well, I was always interested in storytelling when I was younger. And it was only like from the age of 11 that I just wanted to start making films. Um, I tried to make several feature films between the age of 11 and 17. I didn't really go anywhere. They were high aspirations, slasher films with, yeah, 11-year-olds. They had no, but I didn't understand any of the filmic like language or anything like that. I was just more interested in storytelling.
Yeah,
So it wasn't until I made my first feature film when I was 18, which is terrible, absolutely terrible. But that's the thing I realized quickly was that, it doesn't matter if you made your first film's awful or if you made a couple of terrible films, you just got to learn from the mistakes from those films.
yeah,
Um, so with that, like, and I was really arrogant when I first made my first film. I thought, this is it, we're off to Hollywood with this crappy little film. And it took a couple of films and life changing and stuff to just realize, like, no, this is just about legacy. It's not going to be about hitting that success point. It's just about having a collection of work that you're happy with.
yeah,
And that's the thing. I just kept on making films, really. Like, it was about 2017 that we kind of put more of a focus on doing horror films. Before that, it was like dark dramas and like the Michael Haneke sort of vibe that were very tough sells to get anyone to watch. I've always loved horror, especially as a kid. I don't know, I just steered away from it from film for a while. And now it's just been non-stop horror. And I love all different elements of horror. So it's always something new to explore.
so I mean, did you, I mean, most of the it's interesting, most of the people I've talked to, the directors that I've talked to, started off making short films, but you seem to go straight into to doing features.
Yeah, I don't know why. Because the thing is, like, as a kid, when I was younger, I made a lot of just long running, just filming, and I preferred the longer form. With short films, I made one short film before my feature, but it was kind of just like a prelude to what the feature was going to be. That was terrible as well. And that was like a college project. So by the time I left school, college, sorry, I just didn't want to go to university and learn more about filmmaking. I just wanted to jump into it. And
Yeah,
yeah, weirdly, that kind of drove me to making a feature film. And, like I said, I made so many mistakes during that film, but I've learned to, I still learn from a lot of the good parts of the film.
yeah.
But in reality, like, yeah, it was probably too soon to try and make a feature film. But I'm kind of glad, it's one of those life experiences where you go, well, I did it, and I'm still making films, and I'm hopefully strong, much stronger than back then. So, you
Absolutely,
know,
yeah, yeah. Well, no, it's cool. So the actual film itself, A Final Exorcism, where I mean, there's been a lot of films about exorcisms and about exorcists and things like that. Where did the actual idea for the story of this for this film come from?
Well, I remember, I think it was the trailer for The Exorcist Believer came out,
Right.
and it just got me thinking about like, what would I do if I did an exorcism film? And because I've always been a massive fan of 12 Angry Men and that idea of the judgment and the constant real-time vibe, I'd always wanted to explore a film that works in real time. So I thought, well, wouldn't that be interesting for an exorcism film? And then at first I thought I'll just do an exorcism film in real time. But I thought, well, exorcisms don't work like that. Exorcisms take hours, supposedly days. Why you can't really take that like the whole entire experience and just shove it into 1 hour because it's not real time.
Yeah.
But to take a moment in that time where they're at their wits' end, they've been doing it for days, and it's like, is this real? Is it not real? That just seemed like a really interesting story to explore. Because it was with some of our films, they're improvised. So this was an improvised film. Um, like there was like bullet point script, which tells you each story point that's going to happen. This one had a little bit more learning because obviously there's the Bible in it, so like there's plenty of like quotes and stuff. And then when I was discussing what was the best sort of approach to go with what kind of exorcism, what kind of religious aspects take, I didn't want to do Catholic because it's been done.
Yeah.
So I thought would be interesting to look at that from a high Anglican perspective.
Okay. Yeah.
So I started like I bought some books on high Anglican exorcisms and just did a load of research and the thing is that I'm not religious, so I kind of treat it like, well, this is just folk tales. So I'm just taking IP and I'm just looking at bits that can work and then yeah. And there's some really strange stuff in the Bible that was like ultra dark. So it's like, well, if I can use that as monologues to explore the priest's kind of where his head's at throughout the film, that could be quite interesting.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it was an interesting take on it, and I mean one of the things that I was really impressed with the effects that you used for the kind of the middle section of the film. It was very kind of it's some great camera effects and lighting effects and that sort of thing, and the acting was really good. The actors were really great in that section. It was really strong. Did Was that all improvised, or did you give them any kind of direction in that?
But that's the thing with improvisation, there is direction. It's kind of like I always say to the actors, like, right, here's the beginning and here's the end, and these are the elements that need to be in it. Now do what the character, how they'd respond in those moments for improv. But for the weird surrealism kind of stuff, it was more of a case of them just kind of trusting me because it was weird. It was the weird stuff that I was asking them to do, or at least getting into a certain mindset and stuff. And because like when they'd read the script, it didn't actually say too much about what was going to happen when it did get to the stranger elements that happened later on. I was still trying to work out what was the best journey for it. And originally I was going to stick with it being all from the perspective of Anne, the older lady, Suki's character. And because I thought that would be better. And it just as I was working on it, I was like, no, it needs to be seen from the daughter. The daughter needs to go
Yeah,
through those memories and experience it. And then when I met well, when I got well, I've known Jason J. Lo for a while. The guy who did special effects on the egg, and when talking to him about like what can we do, and he was suggesting ideas, I was like, well, in that sort of scape, you can do whatever you want. And we've done a lot of films where we've used black drops to take away backgrounds and stuff. And I
right.
find it a really interesting way to explore like dream sequences or anything outside of reality. You
Yeah,
just take away everything. It just strips it back. So that was one of the things I was really keen to do in this film. And yeah, like the actors, I was lucky to work with some awesome actors. Simon Berry, who played Daniel. I've worked with Simon loads of times. I've known Simon for about nearly 20 years. He was in my first film. And yeah, he always ex wants different kind of roles. So I was trying to explore something a bit different with him. I'm always going to make him a bit of a pervert. He does pervert well. So, but no, he does a really good job of playing someone who's like more of a religious zealot.
yeah,
Um, And Keely's awesome because she was in Deadly Display, which was SN Sibley's film that I produced. And I just wanted to work with her on something where I was directing her. Same with Sai. Seeing those two being able to work with them and like Sai really brought a lot to it because if he didn't when he read the thing, he didn't know the Psalms at the beginning were going to be sung. And it
Mm.
was only again a decision as I was developing. I was thought these need to be sung because it needs to be like a lullaby to try and bring the demon to sleep, just relax her. And he was like, "What do you mean I don't sing?" I was like, "It doesn't matter about you being able to sing. It's just about believing what you're saying, you know." And
Yeah,
Sai read loads of Bible bits and just got into that mindset really nicely. And Suki, I've worked with many times. She's an amazing actress. She's a local actress to me as well, good friend. I mean, they're all good friends. And that's it. It was just a nice kind of close kind of community of people. Plus, I also got to work with Aviana Snow and Charlie Bentley, and Patrick Oliver, who was from the old Michael J. Murphy films from the 80s. He plays the priest.
yeah,
And Ella, who plays the demon. The great thing with Ella was that with our monsters, she tends to get quite creatively involved. She does a lot of like the design of the creatures. So we kind of just like sat down and went, well, what should each demon look like? And we just kind of, yeah, developed it with Katie Grist, our makeup artist.
yeah. I mean, the makeup was really good. I did like, yeah, I thought that worked really, really well.
Yeah, again, it's, well, like you said, lots of people have seen demon films. We've seen it all before. So I was just trying to like explore what I could do on a zero budget.
Mm.
Um, and again, like the bigger creature that you see at the end of the film, it was just clever placement because that was the other thing with doing the black drop stuff and all this kind of things. I'm trying to take from the skills that they used to do in the 20s and 30s. And I'm like, well, those skills are still there. And they're available to us. So why not try and use those old school skills into a digital world with this kind of stuff, especially on a low budget level, because you can hide things. You can just be a little bit more. It takes the audience surprise because they're not watching something that's in a CGI or a preset sort of, oh, yeah, I've seen that kind of.
I think the thing as well, I mean, like, what something you do in this, and I think you can do it really well, is if you take the background out of the way, you can play with scale because of the fact you've got nothing to uh, measure it by. So, what may only by changing the camera angle, you can make somebody look much taller than they actually are, because you've got no background to measure them against.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such an abstract sort of like lonely world. And I know that's been used in films and stuff before, but it's just an image that's always stuck in my head either way of just if there's only darkness, then what? It's probably the eternal fear of death. If it
Yeah,
is just darkness, then it's like, oh God, what is that? That's worse than any hell or any other scenario of just eternal darkness, you know?
yeah. I mean, one of the things I did like about it, and without trying to give away anything or making, or spoilers or anything like that, one of the things I did like was the fact that it wasn't a film where, you know, religion is the answer to everything, and good triumphs over evil, all that kind of thing. It's kind of got a more ambiguous ending to it than most of those sort of films.
Which is, I watched a lot of religious horrors to try and get a vibe of like, and you're right, in most cases, and it really does annoy me because cinematically it brings in too much cheesiness, like
Yeah,
The Conjuring or The Exorcism of Emily Rose is a good example, where white light has to pour in because an angel is going to save the day, or God's poured through someone and the music rises to a happier place. And it's just like, I don't like that. I just didn't want to do something similar to that. In my mind, God is not real, but the demons are.
yeah,
And these people might believe in God, but it doesn't matter. For the demons, this is just like, this is even more fun for them. The fact that these people who claim to be innocent believe in, believe in those ideas. And I think that to me was scarier and that was more interesting to just kind of accept that. Plus, I'm a downward spiral guy. I love a downward spiral. I can't help but end on the gloomy, dark ending. It's just something that I always want to go to. And this one, I don't know. It's puts me in a weird position because originally I was going to have like a bit more of a dramatic ending where she's like screaming and they're trying to calm her down and bloody Psy pops up back from the dead like Freddy and says some stuff to her and she's still screaming. But it felt too big and too much. Whereas if anything, that they've has come to peace that the demon isn't going anywhere and this is just who she is now.
yeah. One thing I got to say is that we reviewed the Exorcist beginning earlier in the year, and I was massively disappointed by that film because I'm a big fan of the original Exorcist film. And one of the things I would say that um, I would just temper this by saying that I was probably expecting more of that film than I was of yours because of the fact that I knew yours was on like zero budget. So I wasn't expecting it to have the same uh, sort of uh, production quality and everything as that film. But what I would say is that I actually prefer your film to that because it's more of a complete film to me.
Well, thank you. It's it's just always weird when you have a film out there because like the response we've had has been Marmite, and that's how all my films go down. You just kind of accept it, like you like it or you don't. Some people really like it. Some people think it's a wasted opportunity and they don't get it when it gets weird. They're just like, nah, I'm out. Whereas other people are like, whoa, that's like an acid trip in an exorcism film. So yeah, like I don't know, like I think isn't when you're trying to make films, we sometimes get too bogged down with what does we know how to feed an audience what they want, but you should always find a way to like if you can take that rug underneath them and pull it away. So they're like, oh shit, I thought I knew what I was watching. Um, I feel like we don't explore that enough in the independent films.
Yeah,
And I feel like, yeah, sometimes we give a more, okay, yeah, so it's a horror comedy. We know what we're going to get from this kind of film. It's going to be gross out or it's going to hit these beats, but still, really, it's going to be quite a straightforward storytelling. And yeah, it'd just be cool to see more exploration. But then again, not everyone likes it. So,
yeah. No, no, I
it's a
get
trick.
that. I get that. So is the Final Exorcism is it still doing the round of festivals or has it finished doing that now?
It's still doing some festival run. Because we have a close relation with Darkside Releasing, the distribution company. We've done, I think, about 10 films with them. Um, they're going to release the Final Exorcism.
Okay.
So that's going to be more towards the beginning of next year to hopefully get some more festival experience, placements, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's a very competitive thing. And I think it's hitting the film market, the calm film market this week. So that hopefully, fingers crossed, that creates more interest. But the market's a confusing one. So
Will it be available on streaming platforms anywhere, or will it just be sort of physical media?
I believe they'll also release it on VOD sites. But with all these things, you can't really put a placement on release dates because it's the wholesalers. And so hopefully, though, by the beginning of next year, Final Exorcism should be available for more people to watch. And
Okay.
hopefully not just in North America. Hopefully it'll be a little bit wider.
Yeah, that's cool. That'd be cool. So, okay, are you working on anything at the moment, or do you have any projects in like pre-production that you're going to be working on?
I'm shooting my next feature film in July in 6 weeks. It's called They Wait in Shadows. And it's an interesting one for me because it's a scripted film, which I haven't directed one of my own scripts outside of editing someone else's scripts since 2000 and God, like 14, 15. It's all been improv since then, or it's been other people's scripts that I've adapted. So it's going to be interesting, and I've got a great cast though, and it's about two sisters who return home after their mothers died to their family home, and essentially that they did a Ouija board when they were younger, leading to some dark stuff, and it's obviously going to return. And we got some awesome makeup designs that Katie's done again. Our lead actresses Jessica Hunt and Megan Adara. And yeah, they look awesome as monsters. And we've got a giant. I'm trying to do more practical effects with this one because they're still going to be using some of that black drop sort of stuff for the surrealism. But what I want to explore more now is how to make that feel even more 3D.
Right.
So like the less to me, although I love Final Exorcism, there is a slight flatness to it because of the limitations of what we had. This I want to feel I can go around that darkness.
Yeah.
And we've got a giant puppet being made for the film as well.
Oh,
So yeah, someone's hopefully making me a remote control Ouija board as well. So
wow. That'd be
yeah,
cool.
we're trying to really like deliver something that's a bit more accessible, but really like there's some crazy practical effects to it and stuff. And we already have distribution set for that film. So that film pretty much once it's done, they want to get it out. So it's hopefully be out maybe the same time as Exorcism, which would be very strange. But that's
Oh,
filmmaking. Sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes it's as quick as the people want it out, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it sounds interesting. It does sound good. I look forward to that. Any other projects that you're going to be working on in the future that you know about?
Well, we also recently, over the last year, we've been shooting an anthology called Exhibition of Evil.
Okay.
And Exhibition of Evil is a collaborative anthology produced by Trash Arts with directors. I direct some of it. Jackson Batchelor directs some of it, who's part of Trash Arts. SN Sibley, he directs the short. Jessica Hunt, who's also going to be in They Wait in Shadows. And Darren Ward is also directing.
Okay.
And yeah, so essentially they've done some awesome short films. We spent the last year producing them. Like the beauty of this film is that everyone who's been working on it has been cross crewing essentially. So Darren may have directed his film, but he's also done makeup on a good few other films.
Right.
Same with Steve, and Jackson's acted in a few films, but also directed his one. I've crewed and produced pretty much most of the films, and we've got one more to complete in June, and then it's a little bit more wrap up on it, and then we're going to have a screening in August, and then we're going to self-distribute the film from the start of next year.
Okay. Well, that sounds cool. Will both of those films be going out on festival
I'm
things?
not sure about Shadows because that's down to what the distributor wants to do. But Exhibition of Evil will most definitely be doing the festival run. A couple of the shorts did play some festivals, but this will be the chance to see all of it, compiled as one. So we're hoping
I,
we've got a few festivals. The regular awesome start to the year festivals will be hitting them up.
I have no doubt we'll probably see it at Romford.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, hopefully it depends if it's selected, but we'll definitely be entering.
yeah, well, I can't. I don't know. I think you're well enough known there for them to look at it and with a good eye, as it were.
But I should never always assume though.
No, no, no. Okay. Well, thank you for being on the show. Thank you very much for talking to me. I wish you all the best with everything as far as the distribution, everything goes for Final Exorcism and for the filming and marketing and distribution for the other two films. And looking forward to seeing what they're like and looking forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a joy being on here, and it's been good to talk films.
Good. Yeah, thank you very much. I will, as always, put up links to Sam's social media so that you can keep a track of what's happening with his films. So look out for Final Exorcism and future films from Sam. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye bye.
The Sciforror Film Podcast.